Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. And today's video actually came as a suggestion by one of our drivers. So we have a lot of these drivers that go and pick up dealer trades from other dealerships and bring them to the dealership, or take ours over to theirs as well, back and forth. Or they take out vehicles to customers as well. So not only for service, but also for sales. So if you live close enough to us and you got a Maverick reserved and ordered, and you have a trade-in, this guy might be driving your vehicle to you and bringing it back. So he had always important to us. We keep him going the right direction. So he had some questions about the nav screens in these vehicles, and also he has a nav in his own Focus too that he's going to wants a little more information. So we're going to cover this. I've actually done a tutorial on the Sync 3, a full overview that was long and extensive. So this in here, we're going to talk just about the navigation system. We're going to tell you how to set up the destination, how to use the voice commands for that, how to use the point of interest, how to change some things on the screen itself. We're going to cover all those and more in this week's Tech Tuesday with Tim. So we're inside my truck, and so a couple of different ways we're going to cover just the navigation. And as you can tell, this has the blue background when you have the lights on. That's how you kind of know it's the updated version. I can't remember what it is on the other one, but that's kind of the update. So you also see, the map is usually about half of the screen here, and then you have your audio and your phone over there, and then you have the navigation things down here, or the quick little hot buttons down here. So a couple of different ways you can get a navigation. One is by clicking that button down below there, or just by clicking on the map. So when you first go in there, it's actually going to make this bigger for us, but you are seeing several different buttons here. Just kind of an overview. I want to cover a couple of those real quick. So if they do disappear on you like that and they're gone, just press on the screen and they'll pop back up. So we do have a plus and a minus, and that is going to make that screen either bigger or smaller. As you can see, it's kind of zooming that in. You can hit auto as well, and it does the same thing. If I go to out, that's going to move that screen way back out. So if you can move the screen around too, you can zoom it in and out using your fingers to pinch the zoom. Hopefully you got a good image of that. My hand wasn't too much in the way. So you can move the screen around. You can also click that, and it's going to go show you different. Here, let me get to that. Now if I want to zoom back in, there we go. Oh, there you go. Hit the plus, hit the auto, and it zooms me right back into where it's at. So now I was pushing this button over here. So one of the questions that Jerry had for me was that he wants that arrow, the red arrow, to always be pointing in the direction he's going. And that's how I have mine set up right now. So I am actually facing the highway here in this building. So you can see that. And then if I click on that again, the newer versions have a 3D version, which actually I think it moves around a little bit more. And then you have the north. So that means that up is always north. So as you can see, I'm actually facing, towards a highway, but north is actually going to be to my right over here. So that's a little bit different in the direction. So I actually like the always pointing in the direction I'm going. So I can see that I need to turn right, instead of if it's always north, then I'm like, I get a little confused sometimes. So just anyway, so that's how that works. So some of those on-screen buttons that I want to show you. Now I want to do is go into the menu. So click on the menu, and you're going to see, now we're in the menu. We have several different options here, 10 different options to go through, but some of these are redundant to what you find on the main screen of the navigation. So let's go through a couple of them here. On the screen view, you do have, it just shows you the full map. So it just goes right back to the full map. So go back to menu, hit that again. Now if I want highway exit and information, what it'll do is it'll go there, and it'll actually, there's no information or exit information. So at any time on the map you want information, like the route and like where you're at located, you can click that screen view and do that. Traffic list. Now right now this isn't showing anything because what it's looking for traffic data, and it's trying to show you it'll basically show you a list of wrecks, construction, different things like that would cause your trip to be, prolonged or be delayed in that case. So you can actually get that list. Right now around here, looks like there's nothing around here that would prolong anything if I'm going someplace. Now navigation settings is where I really want to kind of spend some time here. These are some things you might want to think about. So first of all, we do have the map preference, and that's all the stuff within the map and what you see. You can have a 3D city model, and so if you click on the, by the way, if you click on the eye on any of these, it's going to give you more information on what that actually is. So it enables or disables the rendering of 3D buildings and landmarks when the navigation map is in 3D bird's eye view. So having that on, so if I go into 3D and if I go by buildings, you're going to see those kind of in a 3D rendering on the map. Some people like that version, so you can choose that. Breadcrumbs will be, if you click on that, it does tell you that enables and disables the use of breadcrumbs to route the tracking on the navigation map. So as you, basically I think it has a solid line, and then as you get further and further, then the dotted lines will be behind you. So it kind of shows you where you've been as well as where you're going. So you kind of see on your trip, you know, if you got halfway, hey, you can tell I'm halfway because you can see those breadcrumbs. Now you do have POI icons. So click on that and it'll show you enable or disable up to 3 points of interest categories on the map as icons. So this is pretty cool. So I actually have that turned on right now, and I can select a couple of different things. So I'm going to go into travel, and I'm going to do the ones that I think are really valuable is fuel stations. You need a gas station, it's really nice. If maybe you're in a electric vehicle, the charging would be the charging places would be a good one to have up there as well. Parking, so I want to click on parking. So it shows me those as well. You know, maybe you want airport. They're actually usually pretty easy to see on the map. But rest area would probably be a good one too. So then when you go back to the map, go back. Now if I zoom back out, you're going to see those gas stations are going to pop up. So they're on the map now. So those are those gas stations that would normally pop up. It's going to be a little ways to get to a rest area. See if I can get one to show. Oops. There's I-70. I think there's one down here somewhere, but it would show those rest areas on the map as well. So if you're on there, so there's some around there somewhere. So anyway, so it'll actually show you those rest areas on the map as well, and then whatever you just decide to, I think you sometimes have to be a little bit closer. So anyway, so those will show up, so you can have those POIs in there, which would be really good to have. Go back to our menu here, go back to navigation, map preferences. So I'll leave that highlighted, kind of like that on, and then the next one down here is the incident map icons. So again, this is going to be like anything like that would delay. So if you select traffic incidences like an accident, something like that, it's going to show that on the map. So it'll have a little yellow triangle, and it's going to show you that image on the map, so you can see that there's something coming ahead that would cause you to be delayed or slow down. So that's going to be on you. That'll show up on your map too. Now let's go to the route preferences. So this is actually when you're selecting your route. These are some of the preferences that the system is looking for when it's selecting your correct route. So I have it set that I want my preferred route to be the fastest route. I also highlighted here, and you have options of fastest, shortest, or the most economical for fuel efficiency. So maybe instead of going, on the highway, it's choosing other areas where your speed limit would be, reduced a little bit to get you better fuel economy, kind of like that. So I have chosen here to always use the fastest route. So if you don't want that, what basically will happen is when you go to choose a location, it's going to give you those 3 different options, either the fastest or the shortest, or it's going to do the eco. So it's going to give you 3 different options, and then you have to choose that option. For my preference, I just like giving me the fastest route, and then it just goes. So it's one less step that I have to tell the system to go ahead and do before I get started. HOV lanes, those will be your carpool lanes. So this basically, like it says here, if you just click on the eye, so if enabled, the sync will use the HOV lanes or the carpool lanes when providing navigation route guidance. So it'll know that those are there and let you use those lanes on your map. So that's kind of cool. So if you do that a lot, you might want to select that. Automatically finding parking. So again, click the eye, it tells you if enabled, sync will search for and display parking options as icons on the nav. So I don't have to choose that as one of my 3 categories because it's already going to do it if I have that highlighted. So it's going to already look for those different places. Now the eco time penalty, I mentioned it gives you 3 different options, and one of them is a more economical route for you. You can choose what kind of penalty, how the frequency of the penalty for finding them more economical. So if you want to say, yep, I'm willing to take all risks to give me the best eco-friendly drive, you go to high. But I have it on low because I don't want that option. So if there's just a, if it just causes me just take a little bit longer, maybe I'll think about it. So I have it on the low penalty for that. So that's how you might choose that. And then you do have down here dynamic route guidance. So basically, if I highlight that and I check any of these boxes, it's going to avoid those areas. So if I'm choosing my destination or my route and I want to avoid highways, I would check that box. If I want to avoid toll roads, I would check that box. So if you want to go free, you don't want to have to pay any kind of tolls on any roads, then you would check that box. If you want to avoid ferries or car trains or tunnels, you could choose those routes. If you're one that you do not like driving through tunnels, then check that box and it will avoid those areas. Now go to your navigation preferences. Okay, there's only one here. So when you click on that little arrow, it tells you how you want, when you do your navigation, when it's telling you when to turn and the different turns you have, it's going to use either the voice, the tones, or both. So the tones, what it'll do is it'll make a tone, and then it'll tell you, if you have it on this top one, I should say, it'll actually make a tone, and then it'll tell you that you need to turn right coming up. I don't necessarily need both, so I do the voice only. So I do like to leave my hands on the steering wheel and looking ahead. I like the voice command, so it tells me to turn right here, turn right in 0.2 miles, whatever. I like the voice commands, so I use the voice only, but you can also use tones. What tone will do is it'll just make a tone, and then you actually have to look on the navigation to see what it's telling you to do. So those are your three options for your preferences for your navigation. So those are those three settings. You want to make sure you go in there and make it the best you can, because setting these settings up at the beginning will help your experience be a little bit better with the navigation system and how well it works. The where am I, that basically just tells you where you're at. That's latitude, longitude of your current location and the nearest road. So that's kind of cool, showing you where you're at. Now the rest of these, I'm going to show you a better way to get to these, but you can get them in your menu, and that's your home. So you can add a favorite for your home. I don't actually have one in here right now. I'll tell you why in a little bit. And then work, same way. You can add your work in here, especially if you're commuting. You can be able to just click on that, and it's going to know, and it's going to send you those locations. So that's where you would set those up in your menu. I'll show you where to set them up later. POIs, also you click on there, and it gives you all the different options for your POIs. Again, I'm going to show you another place where you can get to those categories. Favorites, the same way. Click in there, and that's where you can also set up your home and work. So you can do it from the favorites instead of doing it from those little buttons. And then your history. And I actually have nothing in here because I've never used my on-screen navigation since I got the truck about a year ago because of COVID and everything. I haven't done really any traveling in this vehicle. The last time I traveled in it, I did take a trip to the airport in Wichita, and I actually used my Waze app from my Android Auto. Okay. And then you do have the search button, and that's how you would want to search for everything. I'm going to show you a little bit better place, because really those top three are really the only things that you need to go into the menu for. The rest of those can be achieved on the map. So if I go back to the map, search button right up here, there's all those buttons we just talked about. So they're all right there. There's no reason to go to the menu, and that's just an extra step. So now I can get to them real quickly just by hitting the search. Now I can go into that history button like I told you about, and then the home and work, and there's where I can set up the home and work locations if I want to. And then your favorites, you can add favorites. So if I just click add favorite, you put in the location, and then you can add that as a favorite button or a favorite navigation place. And then you have your POIs. So let me go through POIs briefly. There's quite a few here. So you do have food, and that's going to be basically all your restaurants. But what's really cool about this is it does sort it by type of food. So if you want pizza, boom, you have pizza, and you can find those different restaurants that are close to you. And it will show you those by how close they are. So if I click into one of those to show you, we'll just do it on this one. It's going to show you the restaurant that's the closest to you, and then going further out. So that's how that's going to be sorted. So you can see sort by, and it has distance. If I click on distance, there you go. Then it can do site seeker instead. So it can be by recommended instead of your distance. Those are different ways you can sort. And then going back, we have your travel. and that's going to be your gas stations, your charging stations, your hotels, parking, airport, those kind of things that you do while traveling. You need to find those. Financial will be your banks, ATMs. So if you need to get money out, you'll need to know where those are at. Shopping will be, grocery store, shopping mall, department store, liquor stores in there, home and garden. Just basically if you're doing some shopping, you'll want to find those locations in there. Scroll on over, you have domestic. So that'd be, as you can see here, hair salon, barbershop, nail salon, cleaners, storage. So basically those other different shopping that you might do that you don't always think about are going to be located under domestic. And then recreation, usually most of them is outdoor places, parks, golf courses, fitness centers are in there though. Sometimes spectator sports complex are in there. Just kind of curious because we're actually using one as a point later. I wanted to see if it's showing in here. So it's showing, of course, the closest ones. So Salina Raceway is actually in there as first. So, and then if you go back, let's go scroll back over. You have entertainment. So in there, you're going to have nightlife, movie theaters, amusement parks, museums. I think you get the idea on most of these. Health is going to be your hospital, pharmacies, urgent care centers, that kind of thing. Community, going to be your schools, post offices, worship centers, that kind of thing. Libraries in there, city center, that kind of thing are right in there. And then automotive would be your auto parts stores, your towing car wash, tire dealer, maintenance and repair dealers. Of course, they're going to have Ford dealership and Lincoln dealerships in there as well. So those are your POIs. So that's pretty easy to do. Now you can at any time you can just go ahead and type the address in here. So let me show you. I actually have one picked out on a local restaurant here. So if I start punching it in, it's going to start giving you options. Click on that. It's going to give you some of those options as you start punching them in. If you need a little bit more, then you do that. And then it starts giving you more options. So right as you get closer to it, then there we go. There's my location. So hopefully you don't have to do the whole address, typing it in. You can do that. Now I'm going to show you by voice commands how to do that as well. That's pretty much the last thing I want to cover because I've really covered everything else. So we can use voice commands to do this as well as punching all those in. So I will recommend if you're going on a trip or something, before you get started, punching your hotel in there, punching maybe a couple restaurants you might be going to. You can do that. You can also, again, use the voice command. So I'm going to show you, and I will be critically honest here with on this, is that it doesn't work the best sometimes. We're in Wichita trying to get a location and put it in there, and we just could not get it to come up. I will show you probably the best way to be able to get it to do it first, and then go from there. So if I click the little icon on my steering wheel, you're not seeing it where you're at, but if I click that, find an address.
In Michigan, please say the street address, including the city. To search in another state, say change state.
Change state.
Please say the state or province name.
Kansas.
In Kansas, please say the street address, including the city. To search in another state, say change state.
1402 East Iron Avenue, Salina.
When ready, press the voice button and then say set as destination, or say change something.
So there you go. This is actually one of my favorite restaurants in town. This is Bravo. They're very locally owned and nice couple. They even are closed on Sunday because that's their one day off. So love the restaurant. Go there all the time if we can. And that's where it's located. I can add that as a favorite, or I can hit start and it does it. I can use a voice command to start it as well. And just like I had mentioned, and go ahead and do that. So there's how you would do that. That's kind of the best way, is choose to find an address. You can say navigation first, and then it'll choose that. You'll notice find an address came up as one of the recommended phrases because I had used it earlier to practice before the video to make sure we had this down, because again, I don't use this a lot, but you can see that's where that's at. Now this is kind of centrally located, and typically if I was outside to where it knew my GPS, it probably would have given me Kansas as an option already and say find an address in Kansas. It made it a little bit quicker. So now I'm going to try, I'm going to go to Kauffman Stadium. That's the Royals Stadium in Kansas City, which is a good 3 hours away from here. And I'm going to show you how to get to something a little bit further away than that. And this is actually a POI. So let's try this out. Okay, I think I had to go out of that. Find a place.
Searching nearby. Please say the name of the POI.
Kauffman Stadium.
Please say a line number or say none of those.
None of those.
My
Because it's not
mistake.
close enough.
What was the name you're looking for? To search somewhere else, say change search area.
Change search area.
Where would you like to search? Please say the city and state or province name.
Kansas City, Missouri.
In Kansas City, please say the name of the POI.
Kauffman Stadium.
Please say a line number or say none of those.
1.
Please say a line number or say none of those.
1.
When ready, press the voice button and then say set as destination or dial the number.
So there you go. That's pretty much that's how easy it is with the voice command. So it can work pretty well, especially if you had it. And I did write down the addresses just in case I needed those for that. But sometimes I find it's easier to punch in the address. But and I found sometimes if you have the phone number like that when they're on a business, if you have the phone number, sometimes it's a little bit easier to just start punching the phone number and it pops up a little bit faster. So that's really how simple that is. So you can use the voice commands to do that. And again, if you know, find an address, find a place. If you're looking for POI, do the find a place. If you're looking for an address, do find an address. If you're going to somebody's house, something like that. Restaurants may or may not pop up, but if you know the address, you can do that. We can try. Find a place.
Searching nearby. Please say the name of the POI.
Bravo.
Please say a line number or say none of those.
None of those.
My mistake. What was the name you're looking for? To search somewhere else, say change search area.
Bravo Sliders.
Please say a line number or say none of those.
None of those.
My mistake. What was the name you're looking for?
So in that case, it struggled finding that, but I had the address instead. So it really just depends. That's why I think some people like to use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, because it's probably a little bit easier to use. It's the voice recognition in those systems and the phones are a little bit easier to use. But there's a great overview, I think, on the navigation system here and how that works. Again, I think a big key here is to set up those navigation settings to what's going to work for you. Go in there, check those settings out, and make sure you have those set up the way you want it to. It'll make the experience a little bit easier for you. You'll like it a little bit better. It'll be a lot safer for you if you set everything up to your preferences. That makes things a little bit quicker and easier when you're trying to find and use the navigation system. So I do recommend going in there, making sure you do that first when you first get your vehicle. Set up those navigation settings. It'll make everything a little bit easier, and then of course quickly you just go into the search and you can find everything in there. And again, don't hesitate to use the voice commands to do that, especially when you're driving. You have no other option. When you're stationary, you're stopped, you can use the keypad to punch things in, but it doesn't want you to use the screen and be touching the screen, take your hands off the steering wheel if you're driving. So once you're moving, you can only use the voice commands to find your location. So hopefully you really enjoyed this little tutorial on this. I had a couple things I want to jump outside to kind of wrap up and talk about for this little tutorial. So that's this week's video, and again, thanks for giving us an idea there, Jerry, for this video, and I do appreciate it. So also, if you have any suggestions as well for any Tech Tuesday videos, any technology on Ford and Lincoln vehicles, or even any features at all. So if you have a feature, maybe you know how it works, or you need to learn how to do something on your Ford or Lincoln vehicle, drop them down in the comments down below. I do read those, and that gives me great ideas for a Tech Tuesday video for the future. So I want these to be educational and helpful for you every Tuesday, so we can kind of join in, learn the vehicles together, and then also communicate and talk to one another if you have any other questions while that video is playing. So again, thanks for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Don't forget you can check out our inventory on our website, lawmacarthur.com. Don't forget the numbers are on the screen if you want to reach out to us. You can call or send us a text message on there. So if you'd rather just text back and forth, we can do that by using that number on the screen as well. So again, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the red subscribe button down below so you can get subscribed over to the channel. Hit the notification bell. You'll also get notified the next time another video uploaded to our YouTube channel. Smash that like button if you did like this. Drop your comments down below, especially those suggestions for other future videos. And don't forget to share this video out if you have somebody that has a Ford vehicle with navigation you think maybe they'd want to know about it. So I go ahead and throw it on there. So again, thanks for watching. And don't forget to check us out next Tuesday for Tech Tuesday with Tim. Have a great day.